Hold up. Before WWE tries to spin this narrative, before the dirt sheets feed you their corporate-approved garbage, let me tell you what really went down backstage that made Dominik Mysterio walk away from the biggest contract negotiation of his career. And trust me, what I'm about to reveal is going to make your blood boil, because this isn't about money, this isn't about creative differences, this is about disrespect at the highest level, and somebody in that Stamford office needs to be held accountable. You think you know what happened? You don't know anything yet. Stick around, because the receipts I'm dropping today are going to change everything you thought you knew about Dom and why one of the most protected heels in the company suddenly became persona non grata. And here's your first trivia question. Drop your answer in the comments. Who was the last major WWE superstar to walk out mid-contract before Dominik? Let's see who the real day ones are. Listen, I've been in the trenches of wrestling journalism for years, and I've never seen a situation blow up this spectacularly behind the curtain. We're talking nuclear heat, and I'm not talking the worked heat that Dominik's been getting from crowds worldwide. I'm talking legitimate, backstage, people aren't speaking to each other heat that's been brewing since Wrestlemania season. So here's what the mainstream outlets aren't telling you, here's what WWE's PR machine is desperately trying to keep under wraps. Dominik Mysterio didn't quit. He was pushed out. And the architect of this disaster? We need to talk about the booking committee and one specific executive who's been systematically destroying the Judgment Day storyline from the inside. Now, we have a quick request for you. We are constantly working to improve our content to earn your love and support. That's why we would truly appreciate it if you could take a moment to leave a like on this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell icon so you never miss an update here on Wrestling Zone Insider. Let me paint you the picture that WWE doesn't want you to see. 3 months ago, Dominik was on top of the world. The Judgment Day was the hottest faction in professional wrestling. Every single week, Dom was getting legitimate heel heat, not go-away heat, but money heat. The kind of heat where fans are buying tickets specifically to boo this man. Parents were bringing their kids to shows with "I hate Dominik" signs. That's gold in this business. That's the kind of organic reaction you cannot manufacture. But here's where it gets infuriating. According to multiple sources close to the situation, and I'm talking people who sit in on those creative meetings, there was a massive push against giving Dominik any meaningful singles run. Despite the fact that he was outselling established main eventers in merchandise. Despite the fact that his segments were consistently rating higher than mid-card championship matches. The booking committee had already decided that Dominik was just Rhea's kid and would never be more than a faction player. Are you kidding me? This is the same company that pushed Roman Reigns as the guide for 8 years before it finally clicked. The same company that gave Theory every opportunity under the sun. But Dominik Mysterio, who organically got himself over as one of the most despised heels in the company, gets told he's reached his ceiling at 26 years old. Here's your second trivia question, and this one's spicy. Comment below, what year did Dominik make his WWE in-ring debut, and who was his opponent? Let's see who's been paying attention to this journey. Now, the real controversy starts when we examine the WrestleMania 41 plans. Word backstage is that creative had pitched a massive storyline where Dominik would finally split from Judgment Day and enter a program with Damian Priest, a feud that writes itself. The betrayal, the redemption arc, the heat from the crowd, it's money. But here's what happened. That pitch got shut down in the final booking meeting before the road to WrestleMania began. Why? Because one particular executive, and I'm not naming names, but if you've been following my channel, you know exactly who I'm talking about, decided that Dominik wasn't ready for a WrestleMania singles program. Instead, they wanted to keep him in a multi-man tag situation where he'd be lost in the shuffle. This is the same executive who's been criticized for years for not being able to create new stars. The same person who keeps recycling the same part-timers and legends while the young talent gets buried on main event. So what did Dominik do? He went to management the right way, through proper channels, and expressed his frustration. He didn't go to social media. He didn't trash the company in interviews. He went to the people in charge and said, "I've worked my tail off, I'm getting the reactions you want, why am I being held back?" And you know what response he got? Crickets. Absolute silence from the executive level. But it gets worse. After that meeting, Dominik noticed a shift in his booking. Suddenly, he's losing matches clean in under 5 minutes. Suddenly, his promos are getting cut from 3 minutes to 30 seconds. Suddenly, Rhea Ripley's getting all the spotlight in Judgment Day segments while Dominik's standing in the background like a prop. This is textbook burial tactics, people. This is what happens when you dare to advocate for yourself in WWE's toxic creative environment. And before you come at me in the comments saying he's just being a mark for himself, let me remind you that standing up for your position in the card is what every top star has done. Stone Cold did it. The Rock did it. John Cena did it. Centimeter Punk definitely did it. The difference is, when you're already in the main event picture, you have leverage. When you're a young talent trying to break through, you get punished. Here's your third trivia question, and this one's for the real students of the game. Name 3 superstars who left WWE in the past 5 years specifically because of creative frustrations. Drop your answers below, and let's see who's been keeping score. Now, let's talk about the contract situation because this is where everything imploded. Dominik's deal was coming up for renegotiation. Based on his position on the card, his merchandise numbers, and his consistent television presence, he was expecting, reasonably, I might add, a significant increase. We're talking about bumping him from developmental level money to mid-card money. Nothing crazy, not main event, not top guy money, just fair compensation for a wrestler who's on TV every single week. But WWE came back with an offer that was barely above what he was already making. And get this, the contract included specific language that would give creative complete control over his character with no input from Dominik. That means they could turn him face tomorrow, break up Judgment Day, change his entire presentation, and he'd have zero say in it. What kind of negotiation is that? That's not a contract, that's a hostage situation. Multiple sources have confirmed that Dominik's camp pushed back on these terms. They wanted creative consultation rights, not creative control, just the ability to have a conversation about his character direction. WWE's response? Take it or leave it. This is the same company that gives part-timers complete creative freedom. The same company that let Roman Reigns book himself for 2 years. But a young, hungry talent who's proven he can generate heat? Nah, shut up and take what we give you. So here's what really happened in that final negotiation meeting. Dominik walked in with his team, ready to compromise, ready to find middle ground. And he was told point blank that if he didn't sign the contract as is, they would start transitioning his character off television immediately. Not in 6 months when his deal expired, immediately. They basically threatened to bury him on his way out the door. And this is what should make every single wrestling fan furious. This is a pattern with WWE. They did it to Brody Lee. They did it to Pac. They tried to do it to Sasha Banks and Naomi. Anytime talent stands up for themselves, anytime someone dares to say I deserve better, the company goes into punishment mode. How is that acceptable? How is that the environment we want for the wrestlers we claim to support? Trivia question number 4, and this is a two-partier, so pay attention. What was Dominik's first major storyline in WWE, and which Hall of Famer was involved? Comment your answers, and let's see who remembers where this all started. Now, here's where the story takes an even more disturbing turn. After that disastrous negotiation, Dominik had a conversation with his father, Rey Mysterio. And Rey, who's been in this business for over 3 decades, who's navigated every political minefield WWE can throw at someone, told his son something that should shock absolutely nobody. If you're not happy, leave. Your mental health and your career are worth more than any paycheck. Think about that for a second. Rey Mysterio, a WWE Hall of Famer, a company legend, someone who's made millions with this organization, is telling his son to walk away. That tells you everything you need to know about what's happening behind the scenes. Rey has seen talented performers get chewed up and spit out by this system. He's watched friends and colleagues have their careers destroyed by petty backstage politics. He wasn't about to let it happen to his son. But WWE's PR machine immediately went into overdrive. Suddenly, reports started leaking that Dominik was difficult to work with, that he was unprofessional, that he had attitude problems. These are the same smear tactics they use on everyone who leaves. It's the playbook. Discredit the talent, make them seem like the problem, protect the company's image at all costs. And you know what the most insulting part of all this is? Dominik Mysterio has been nothing but a company guy his entire run. He switched to heel when they asked him to. He took every single piece of criticism from the crowd and turned it into gold. He worked house shows, media appearances, signings, everything they asked of him. And his reward? Getting lowballed on a contract and threatened with burial. This brings me to the controversial take that's going to upset some people, but it needs to be said, WWE's executive structure is broken. As long as out-of-touch executives who haven't been in a ring in decades are making creative decisions, we're going to keep losing talented performers. Dominik Mysterio should be entering the prime years of his career with WWE. Instead, he's walking away because the people in charge can't see past their own egos. Fifth and final trivia question before we wrap this up: how many members of the Mysterio family have competed in WWE? Drop your answer in the comments, and let's see who the real Mysterio historians are. So what happens next? Well, that's the million-dollar question, isn't it? Dominik's got a 90-day non-compete clause, which means he can't appear anywhere until that expires. But you better believe that Tony Khan's phone has been ringing off the hook. AEW would be absolutely insane not to throw a massive offer at Dominik. Imagine the pop when Dominik Mysterio shows up in an AEW ring. Imagine the programs he could have with MJF, with Christian Cage, with Adam Cole. And here's what should terrify WWE: Dominik leaving doesn't just hurt them in the short term. It sends a message to every single young talent in that locker room that if you're not part of the chosen few, if you're not somebody's favorite, your ceiling is already set. Why would anyone bust their ass to get over if they know they are just going to get held back anyway? The blame for this disaster falls squarely on WWE's booking committee and the executive who refused to see Dominik's value. This wasn't a money issue. WWE has more money than they know what to do with. This wasn't a creative issue. The storylines were right there. This was an ego issue. This was about control. And now they've lost one of their best young heels because somebody in that office couldn't stand the idea of a 26-year-old having a voice. Before we wrap up, we have a quick request for you. We are constantly working to improve our content to earn your love and support. That's why we would truly appreciate it if you could take a moment to leave a like on this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell icon so you never miss an update here on Wrestling Zone Insider. Wrestling fans, this story isn't over. Dominik's chapter with WWE might be closed, but his career is just beginning. And you better believe I'm going to be following every single development. Make sure you're subscribed, make sure those notifications are on, because when Dominik makes his next move, Wrestling Zone Insider is going to have all the details. Drop your thoughts in the comments. Do you think WWE made a massive mistake? Should Dominik have stayed and fought? Where do you want to see him go next? Let's get a conversation going. And don't forget to answer those 5 trivia questions scattered throughout this video. This is Wrestling Zone Insider, and we'll see you in the next one. Keep your eyes open, keep your ears to the ground, because in this business, everything can change in a heartbeat.